Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are very good and I am also very good. Okay, so now we are going to discuss something new in today's lecture. Okay, so let's see. So when you run fast, then you breathe fastly. Why it is so? Yes students, you have to answer this question. Like when we are running, so our breathing is actually goes faster and faster. Okay, so why it is so? Who will tell me why we are breathing more fastly? Is the body demands the breathing should be fast? Yes students, I will give you some time to think. Yes. Okay student, I hope you have all thought this answer of this question, why we are breathing fastly when we run. Okay, so let's see. To perform action, the cell require energy. To perform any action, the cell require energy. That energy is formed when we intake oxygen through the breathing. Okay, so actually in our breathe there are mixture of gases in which the percentage of oxygen is maximum. Percentage of oxygen is maximum, and we all know that oxygen is responsible for the ATP production. Okay, so for the energy production, oxygen is responsible. So dear student, while we are running, there is demand of more energy. So to accomplish this, to accomplish the demand of more energy, the oxygen should also be increased in our body. Yes or no? Okay, so that's why while we are running, our breathing goes faster and faster. Okay, now, so student, on the basis of presence or absence of oxygen, respiration is classified into two types. Okay, so the two types are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so by the name itself, it resembles aerobic respiration, means it needs air for the production of energy. Okay, and anaerobic respiration, it do not need air for the energy production. Okay students, so here while I am saying air, it means oxygen, it means oxygen gas. Okay, so from air we are taking oxygen for energy. So there are basically two types of respiration occurring in our body, that is with oxygen and without oxygen. With oxygen is aerobic respiration and without oxygen is anaerobic respiration. Okay, yes. Now student, see, before going further or before learning something, we are going to see this equation first. Okay, this is the most important thing for aerobic respiration. Now you have to tell me what is written in this equation, students. Yes, so we can see that in the presence of oxygen, nothing but oxygen, in the presence of oxygen, Okay, the glucose, in the presence of oxygen, glucose get oxidized to carbon dioxide, water and ATP. Okay, so it get oxidized to carbon dioxide, water and ATP. So this carbon dioxide is released while expiration, while we are doing releasing our air. This water is utilized in our body, and then we are going to have this ATP, that is energy. This is an energy form. So here in the equation itself we can see the use of oxygen. This means that this is a aerobic respiration. How do we identify aerobic respiration? By seeing the oxygen. Okay, and in the presence of oxygen only, this glucose we are getting from our food. Okay, and then it gets oxidized into carbon dioxide, water, and then we are getting energy. I hope it would be clear to you. Now see, what is the definition of aerobic respiration? When the breakdown of glucose occurs with the use of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. Okay, during aerobic respiration, glucose is completely broken down into carbon dioxide, water and energy is released. Okay, so during the aerobic respiration, glucose is completely broken down, and we have seen the equation also, that in that equation we are producing carbon dioxide, water and ATP, that is energy. Aerobic respiration takes place in mitochondria. So where is mitochondria, students? We have seen in the cells there is mitochondria. It has finger like projection. Okay, so this structure is mitochondria. Here only this aerobic respiration takes place. It can be shown in the following equation. Now here glucose, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water and energy is in the form of ATP. Okay. Now students, see, aerobic respiration is seen in most of the organisms such as humans, dogs, cats, lions, elephants, cows, buffaloes, goats, snake, earthworm, frog and fishes, etc. There are many more animals in which aerobic respiration takes place. Okay, so what is aerobic respiration? Yes student, you have to tell me. The oxidation of glucose in presence of what? In presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water and ATP is known as aerobic respiration. Now we have to tell me, aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of, it is very easy question, it occurs in the presence of oxygen. The end product of aerobic respirations are carbon dioxide, water, energy, or all of the above. What is the answer? You have to tell me the end product. So answer would be all of the above. Okay. Now till now we have studied about aerobic respiration. Okay, its definition, its equation, its example, and we have done these two questions. Now we are moving to another part. So students, see, how do puff is formed in the bread? Okay, have you seen this puff and how it is formed? Okay, to answer this question we will move to this part, why there is formation of puff. So let's suppose there is glucose present. Okay, and Have you observed that while making bread, actually the dough, that atta that is made with water and that is made of dough, they are kept for overnight, okay, that, and they are covered with cloth also. So that makes that there is a absence of oxygen, there is the absence of oxygen. So we can see here glucose, when in the absence of oxygen, okay, there is formation of some yeast over that product, over that dough, okay, there is formation of yeast, okay. Now what this yeast is doing, there is formation of ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy, okay. Ethanol, that is alcohol, this is carbon dioxide, and this is energy. So here also energy is released in the anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration, maybe there is production of energy, okay. So you can see here there is yummy spongy bread, and it is all about the carbon dioxide that is released from the product, okay. So the carbon dioxide actually is released from the pores, and hence there is formation of puff. Is it clear, student? So you can also go through this structure, this diagram once again, okay student. So see, this is our glucose molecule, this is our glucose molecule, and in the absence of oxygen, how we are going to cut off the presence of oxygen? By covering the dough. By covering the dough, if we cover this dough with a cloth or with utensil, then what there will be? There will be cut off of oxygen, there will be no oxygen available there. And what will happen? There will be fermentation taking place, and there will be growth of yeast. The growth of yeast will do fermentation, okay, and this fermentation is going to produce the final product as ethanol, that is alcohol, carbon dioxide and energy, okay students. Okay, now we are going to see the definition of anaerobic respiration. So when the breakdown of glucose takes place without using oxygen, we are not using oxygen over here, it is called anaerobic respiration. Now what are the final product here? The final product is alcohol, carbon dioxide and energy, okay. So the glucose is here not completely broken down into carbon dioxide and water. An intermediate compound is formed with the release of less amount of energy during this process. So as compared to aerobic respiration, students, there is actually less amount of energy produced, okay. This you have to remember, that in the anaerobic respiration there is less amount of energy produced, okay students. Yes, now as we have seen in the equation also, there is formation of alcohol, okay. So this alcohol is also, this process is also used to make the beer and wine, okay. Now let's see what is the process over here. Yeast is a single celled organism. Yeast is a single celled organism, and during anaerobic respiration, yeast also produces ethanol or alcohol as byproduct, which is used in making wine and beer. The carbon dioxide produced by yeast is used in the bread making industry. The carbon dioxide gas released during the process causes the bread dough to rise, okay. So in the same process, student, we are also getting alcohol and we are also getting carbon dioxide, okay. So we can make alcohol from ethanol, and we can use the carbon dioxide that is released to make the bread. Okay, so there could be formation of puff in the bread. So these are the basic two uses in our day-to-day life as a anaerobic respiration. Okay, now you have to tell me what is the final product of anaerobic respiration in the yeast. So just now we have studied what is the final product of anaerobic respiration, and that is ethanol, then it is carbon dioxide, then we are getting what? Sorry, ATP. ATP is energy. Okay, so now see, do you know why we get muscle cramps after heavy exercise? Have you ever thought why there is pain in our body when we are doing lot of exercises? Yes. Yes, students. So basically, see the complete process. While we are doing exercise, okay, our muscles of different part of our body cannot get enough oxygen supply. Enough oxygen supply to the muscle get restricted. Enough oxygen supply to the muscle get restricted. Okay, so such muscles who do not get enough oxygen, they start their respiration anaerobically. They start their respiration anaerobically. Okay, but there is no such yeast over here. The muscle itself do anaerobic respiration in the absence of oxygen, and in the anaerobic respiration acid is formed, and that acid is actually lactic acid. That acid is actually lactic acid. Okay, so this lactic acid causes pain in our body. So there is accumulation of lactic acid in some of the places of muscles, and the pain starts occurring in our body. Now students, see this image. Okay, and what you can say about this? Yes students, so we can see here that lactic acid is removed from the muscles by the bloodstream. Okay, so if by chance or by while we are doing the heavy exercises, lactic acid is formed, then there is pain in our body. Okay, and after doing massages in our body, what happens, that this lactic acid from muscle goes into the blood, and through the blood it goes into the liver. It goes to the liver. Okay, and what happens here student, you can see here that this lactic acid is broken down into carbon dioxide and water. Okay, and please remember student, in this anaerobic respiration there is no such yeast formation. Okay, here only we have to learn about the anaerobic respiration taking place in the muscles. Okay, so student, moving further, here are the some point. When we perform a heavy exercise like running, cycling, walking, weight lifting, etc., we require large amount of energy. To meet the energy requirement of our muscle cells, perform anaerobic respiration. During this process, glucose or the food in the muscle is partially broken down in the absence of oxygen to form lactic acid, and some extra energy is released. Okay student, so in the muscles while we are doing the exercise, in the absence of oxygen, this glucose is producing lactic acid and energy. Okay, now Our mother often used to say, if you are having any type of cramps, then we should have a hot water bath, or we should put our leg or that particular muscles in the hot water. Okay, we can also do it by soaking the cloth in the hot water and then putting over the required muscles. Okay, so what will happen when we are going to have a hot water bath? So this will actually improve the circulation of the blood, and oxygen supply to the muscle cells increases. The increased supply of oxygen result in the complete breakdown of lactic acid into carbon dioxide and water, thereby giving relief from the cramps. Okay, so lactic acid is again broken down into carbon dioxide and water in the liver to reduce the cramp. Now we have studied that the end product of anaerobic respiration in the muscle is lactic acid, ethanol, methanol, or both A and B. The right answer would be lactic acid. Okay. Now we have studied about the aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration in the yeast, and anaerobic respiration in the muscles. So in aerobic respiration, dash is the final product. Students, what is the final product? Carbon dioxide, water, and energy. In the anaerobic respiration of yeast, dash is the final product. Ethanol, then carbon dioxide and ATP. In aerobic respiration of the muscles, anaerobic respiration of the muscles, we are getting lactic acid and ATP. Okay, students. Now you have to make a chart comparing aerobic and anaerobic respiration, and the second one is you have to find out how anaerobic respiration help in the beer formation. Okay, I hope you have understood this lesson very well, and we are going to meet in the next session again very soon. Till then, take care and bye bye. Have a nice day.